Hey guys, different camera angle today because I'm doing my first trailer reaction. I'm excited about doing it. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. I think it's always looked like fun, something cool to do, and I've never actually recorded myself watching something for the first time. So it might be interesting to see what it looks like when I'm seeing the trailer for the first time. First movie I decided to do is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Part of the reason I did it, I chose this movie is because I like Star Wars a lot. So I was really excited about the new trilogy. I really enjoyed The Force Awakens. I'm really excited for The Last Jedi. I also chose to do it because it fits in a lot with what I choose to talk about for my Capstone project, which is an increase in diversification and representation. And I mean, Star Wars is like an entity unto itself. And so for that series to encompass so many different styles of media, whether it's books or movies or TV shows or video games, whatever, it's huge. And so one of the things that it's taken a knock on in the past is not having a diverse group of characters. Yeah, sure, there was Princess Leia in the original trilogy, but there's not a lot of women. Besides Lando in the original trilogy, there's not a lot of color in terms of people of color being represented. In fact, George Lucas took some heat in the original trilogy and even the prequel trilogy for some of the characters being considered cultural stereotypes. Jar Jar, there's a couple other like aliens that some people said, seem almost as if they're like Asian or Japanese stereotypes, negative stereotypes especially. The Force Awakens, really pushed the envelope having a female lead and a black secondary lead with Finn. And a lot of people were really upset about that. I remember people raging online in that opening trailer when Finn takes off his helmet and he's black. And people were just like incredulous, like a black stormtrooper, which is something that doesn't really make sense for people to complain about. But people are really upset about that. People have complained about Rey, saying that she's just a response to feminists, yada, yada, yada. She's not a real character. She's just like a superhero of what women want their characters to be, and it's not honest, and it's taking the focus away from the wrong characters. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought both characters were really cool. I can't wait to see more of them, and I'm excited to see the direction that they go in with this trailer. I haven't seen this trailer at all. I swear to God, I don't even remember when this thing came out. I'm really behind on it. The Star Wars YouTube channel posted it on April the 14th. It feels like it's older than that. My brother's been asking me about it. He can't wait to talk to me about it. I've been plugging my ears whenever he starts mentioning it, avoiding spoilers online. I can't wait to see where the next movie's going to take us because the first one left me wanting so much more. All right, let's get it. I got my tequila. I'm ready. All right, let's see. I don't know who that is talking.
Just breathe. Now, reach out. What do you say?
I don't recognize that voice.
Light. Darkness.
Those books.
A balance.
It's so much bigger.
Those pod races?
I only know one truth. It's time for the Jedi.
Okay. All right. Wow. Oh man. Oh gosh. Okay. I don't know what to say. That was a good. I don't know why I'm laughing. Okay. Okay. Initial thoughts. One, I think it's a good trailer, especially for a teaser. Even though teasers have gotten really long lately, I think it's interesting what different movies and franchises are willing to call trailers now and what they call teasers. Because I feel like teasers, if your teaser's 2 minutes long, that's a trailer. But like Justice League is the same way. It was an unofficial teaser, for the first one, and I feel like the trailer that just came out is really the second one because the first one was still a trailer. This was, I think, a great taste of what is going to come in The Last Jedi. They obviously didn't show too much. They didn't show really much of anything. It was a lot of establishing shots of I can't remember the planet or the island that Rey and Luke are going to be on, which is gorgeous, by the way. Just like it's one of the most stunning locales, even though it looks probably the least alien of a lot of the planets that Star Wars has been on. I mean, it just looks like something that could just be in a remote place on Earth. Obviously, Rey is getting trained by Luke. She's definitely got a lot of potential in the Force. That scene where the rocks are kind of hovering near her hand, it almost looks like maybe she's asleep, and she's kind of just doing that subconsciously. Everything else, the battle shots. One of the great things about the last movie, Rogue One, the space battles were incredible. Space battles have always been a hallmark of Star Wars. They've always been some of the best that I've ever seen in sci-fi, and Rogue One just upped it to another level. And this looks like it's going to continue right there. Obviously, Leia was in the trailer with her back turned. They're probably going to hold off on showing her face, knowing that Carrie Fisher just passed away. That's something that they'll probably hold back on. It's weird now. I mean, Han Solo in the series is dead, and then Carrie Fisher has passed away in real life. And so going forward, I mean, Luke is the only really original trilogy member left in the series. Obviously Harrison Ford is still around, and they're making a Han Solo prequel movie about his young life, but that character is no longer available for the future of the franchise, which may be a good thing. They do need to move forward, I think. Obviously, Mark Hamill is to the age where he's not going to be the lead in the movies anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Luke's last movie either. Not because it says The Last Jedi, and I do want to talk about that title a little bit. Especially interesting that Luke is the one that says, the Jedi need to end. I don't necessarily think that means that Luke is going to die or that Rey is going to turn to the dark side or anything like that. I've suspected for a long time that Luke is going to end the Jedi as an entity because he doesn't agree with what the Jedi were. In the prequels, a lot of what they established about the Jedi is that they were not perfect as an entire group because they were very close-minded, and they accused the Sith of being overly emotional, prone to anger and all that kind of stuff, but the Jedi were almost too far on the pendulum the other way. A lot of the things that the Jedi preached is what pushed Anakin Skywalker to the dark side. It wasn't that he just wanted more power. He wanted to feel like his emotions were valid. He wanted to be able to connect with people in a way that he couldn't under the Jedi Order. And a lot of the prequel series with the Clone Wars showed Obi-Wan having those same struggles. He was able to move past them, but I think it also gives some context to why he was able to understand and maybe turn a bit of a blind eye to some of the things that Anakin was struggling with. I think that Luke has those same emotions. One, being a Skywalker. Two, he's Anakin's son, so he has that potential to give into his emotions, what we see in this original trilogy, especially The Return of the Jedi, where he has to fight that urge to give into his anger. And then the understanding and the reconciliation he has with his father, that compassion that he has for him. I think that he's going to end the Jedi for a good reason. And going forward, there is going to be true balance in the Force, because if you have quote-unquote light on this side, dark side on this side, there's a whole bunch of middle. There's a whole lot of gray right there in the middle. And the Jedi being as close-minded as they are, and then the Sith being so extreme, there's plenty of room for balance to meet in the middle. And I think Rey could be the person that brings that together. Maybe Rey and Kylo Ren knowing that Kylo Ren came from training in the light side of the Force, switched over. Rey obviously is older going into her training. I don't know how old she's supposed to be, but she almost seems like she could be older than Luke, at least in her experience. Luke was like a teenager, 18 or something, but he was really naive. Farm boy, was being looked after by his aunt and uncle, probably kept a pretty tight leash on him. Whereas Rey, although she had never been off planet, she was taking care of herself. She's just a little bit more worldly, more mature than Luke was. And so I think that Luke realizes that, maybe you do need to be a little bit more mature going into your training, learning more about yourself and the Force, because the Jedi would basically take kids when they were damn near toddlers off-world, away from their parents, and then teach them that they don't need to have any attachments to anybody else. It was very cult-like. So there's definitely some room for there to be balance. And if the Jedi end as an order, that doesn't mean that the light side of the Force loses and the dark side wins, or there's going to be unbalance in the Force. I think that's moving the story more toward a true balance in the Force, recognizing that both the light and quote-unquote dark side have stuff to offer with the Force. All in all, there's not really a lot to talk about with the diversity of this trailer. Rey is obviously the focus. Finn did get a little shot where it looks like he's maybe in some kind of medical pod or something. I'm not really sure. I'm actually going to watch it again here in a couple seconds. Oscar Isaac is also, I believe, of mixed race. Let me look it up. So yeah, Oscar Isaac was born in Guatemala to a Guatemalan mother and a Cuban father, which doesn't mean that he's not white or whatever, but I think he's definitely got a look that establishes there's some like Latino heritage. He's got some brown in him, brother's got some brown in him for sure, in terms of his look. And I think that that's interesting that we see not only different types of skin tones or gender or whatever, but also like phenotypes in people being the lead. And I really enjoyed his character in the Force Awakens. I look forward to probably seeing more of his character than most, because we didn't get a lot of time with him. Obviously, it focused off on Finn and Rey. I'm going to watch it again, see if there's anything else I pick out that I want to talk about, and also because I want to.
Breathe. Just breathe. Now, reach out. What do you see?
Light. Darkness. A balance.
It's so much bigger.
Balance is so much bigger. I didn't catch that line the first time.
I only know one truth.
The shot of something burning, maybe like a temple. Obviously, I think that's Luke probably right there, because R2 is right next to him. And whatever this is has been destroyed. So I don't know if maybe this is Luke's perspective of the flashback scene that we saw in The Force Awakens, where you see Kylo Ren and the other Knights of Ren rebelling and destroying Luke's Jedi Academy. I wonder if this is it, or if maybe Luke has arrived as the First Order is destroying these other Jedi locations or something like that. It's a great shot, though. I really cannot wait to see more of this movie. I'm so excited. Christmas seems so freaking far away.
It's time for the Jedi to end.
December. So yeah, I didn't catch that line in the original trailer, and the first watch through. I mean, about her looking, reaching out and seeing light, darkness, and then balance, and her saying so much bigger. Like I said, I think that's the key to the title, The Last Jedi. I think Luke is going to be the Last Jedi, and in some of the extended universe, which I fully admit I don't read. I like Star Wars. I'm not obsessed with it. I don't have the money or time to devote to like reading all the books and all the different legends and all that stuff. Um, but I know in some of the stories, he's battled going to the dark side or fallen and come back, whatever, yada yada yada. What I will say though is that perhaps Luke feels like he has to be the last Jedi to teach and to learn. But the more he's learned, because remember, he got trained by Obi-Wan like that long, He got trained by Yoda in a very short time frame. And while he was trained physically, he didn't necessarily mesh with everything that Yoda was trying to get him to understand on an emotional and a mental level. Yoda didn't want him to leave Dagobah and go to Bespin to save his friends, which he did. And Yoda definitely had some concerns, I think, about Luke being the one to bring balance to the Force. I think it makes sense that Luke is the last Jedi. I don't think that means he's necessarily going to die in this one. I hope he doesn't, because Luke is my favorite character in the series, and Mark Hamill's just fantastic. I'd like to see him be around, and I don't want it to be too close to the original trilogy. A lot of people felt like The Force Awakens was a rehash of New Hope, and part of it, I mean, it was, but it's been like decades, This is you're bringing in old fans, sure, but you also are bringing in like a new generation. Like every generation now has had a trilogy basically to grow up with in Star Wars. But I don't think this needs to be a rehash of like The Empire Strikes Back. We lost Han in the first one, in The Force Awakens, kind of like we lost Obi-Wan. She was Rey's original mentor, I guess, just like Obi-Wan was Luke's original mentor. I don't think we need to see a complete like rehash of Luke and Yoda on Dagobah. I'd really like to see Luke come back in with the fold of the rest of the Rebels. I hope he and Carrie Fisher had some scenes together, because you didn't really get to see them be brother and sister in the original trilogy. As far as the diversification of everything, like I said, there's not a ton here in this trailer. Finn doesn't really get a lot of lines. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that character. I don't know where he's going to go with this. Oscar Isaac definitely seems to be the new Han Solo character. Finn is... I don't know what he's going to be. Rey's analogous to Luke, I guess. But Finn, and maybe that's the best thing about this new trilogy is Finn doesn't have like a direct parallel. He kind of gets to be his own person and add something completely new to the series. And I'm excited to see what they have for it. Overall, I think it's a great first trailer. I haven't read anything or watched anybody else's trailer reaction or looked into all the stuff that I may have missed. I didn't want to. I wanted to be completely surprised, and it was worth the wait. So can't wait to talk about it again.